R.D. Curtis has volunteered to share his testimony with us today. So give it up for R.D.
Good morning again. So, as Hannah said, I will be giving my lovely story of me, pretty much. Guess you could like that. But just before I start, I wanted to basically bring this verse to your guys' minds. And it is from James 1:27. And it says, pure and undefiled religion before God and the Father, to this, to visit the orphan and the widows in their trouble, and to keep oneself spotted from the world. So I wanted to bring that up because of, if most of you who don't know, I was recently, well not recently, but I was adopted by my lovely mother and mine. So that's amazing. And I actually wanted to just put a number in everyone's heads to give you a stretch of how long that would have been. So basically 5,475 days in foster care. Pretty big number. Pretty big. So most of that time I lived with strangers, and from 4 to 6 years old, I lived with my bio grandfather and grandmother. So me and my grandmother had the best relationship that you could possibly have with your grandmother. And so, I mean, the memories that I have with my grandmother is that basically pretty much that she brought me to know Jesus more than I could ever imagine it. And I am very grateful that she did, because without him, I wouldn't have the life I have today. And other memories I have of her is when on Sunday mornings, our tradition, we called it, is what we would do is we would wake up really early in the morning, and we would get a giant box of Captain Crunch, which to this day I still love Captain Crunch. That's a thing. But what we would do is we would watch cartoons, and the show we would watch would be Looney Tunes, because that was just our thing. And we were just amazed at Tweety Bird. Of all the characters you could be amazed by, Tweety Bird. And it was, I don't know what it was, but it was just the voice that was something that we thought was so funny. And we would always mimic him, and like, I would always say, hey grandma, I think I saw a bird. Wait, no. I would always say, hey grandma, I think I see a cat. Silly putty cat. Because that was just our thing we liked to do. And it was fun, and it was something that I cherished most. But unfortunately, she passed away from, I believe, was a heart attack, and that was the most tragic thing that could ever happen to me. And it was pretty sad, and it took me a while to actually get over that and say, okay, God, you wanted her home, and now she is waiting for me, and that's what I have. So basically, living in a total of 12 homes before I was adopted, my mom and I like to say that 13 is our lucky number, because am officially in lucky 13 of my homes that I will permanently stay at until I go into college and possibly my room gets turned into whatever. Never know. But most of my foster homes, I was either abused, neglected. Some places locked the food, which is very, very tormenting for a guy my size. I mean, I need food. So, 3 words that when I was in foster care I thought of. The 3 words are hope, family, and love. Now, you can ask Siri what the definition of, yes, I said Siri. Okay, you can go and ask whoever any definition of hope, and they will give you a long, drawn out, to whatever extent, of definition of hope. My definition of hope is love, family, and joy. It is how you see life in a different way. It's when you take life, like when life is taking you down, hope is a word that will always be there for you, pretty much. It's basically that comfort word. It's basically your grandmother word, for example. And family. Family is a really big word for me. Because growing up without a family, it was tough. And there's been times where when I was in foster care, I was like, okay, this is just not gonna happen. I don't know why, I would ever work hard onto being there and trying to have people know that I would be perfect to be their son, or would be perfect to be in their family. But what family means to me is a group of people that will love you unconditionally. Family is not just people that are my color, but it's who come together and make a person feel loved, who cares for a person, who, whenever something bad goes wrong, they're like, okay, this is how you messed it up. Let's make a way to change that and make sure it never happens again. So family's a really big word. My definition for love comes straight from the Bible, and it's 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7, and it says, love is patient, love is kind. It does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, and always hopes, always preserves. People that I think I call them my angels sent from heaven, because without them, I don't know where I would be right now. I don't even think I would be here standing on this stage telling you of my testimony, because without them, basically I love them more than pretty much the grain of salt. And there's my mom, who always tells me, do your best. If you do your 100%, then you will go far in this world. And my lovely Pappy, who we joke a lot, but most of his joking lead into telling about the real world. And my uncle, Jeff and Kate, well, my uncle and my aunt, Kate, sorry, who are always there, and they're always one call away, even though they live all the way in California. They're very patient with everything, even when they're here. And my grandma Eloise, who I wish I had the chance to meet. But from what I've heard, that me and her would have been best friends. And what I've heard was that we must have been the same person, because apparently everything that I like and dislike, she either likes or dislikes. And someone who I also hold very dear to my heart is my teacher, Miss Math, who pretty much taught me how to be a student that does his work in class and who can consistently try hard on things that I say, oh, it's too hard, or it's not something that I can do. So those are people I would call my guardian angels, pretty much. Some things that I've changed in my life is the last 3.5 years before I had a family, I was very, very shy. Really? Shy? Having a family has given me the confidence I never knew that I had inside of me. Before I had a family, I did not do well in school. Before I had a family, I had never played any sports. Now I play right field and second base on a baseball team. Before I had a family, I never dreamed of driving. In foster care, kids aren't allowed to drive, which is just terrible, because I think driving is pretty much a privilege that if you do correctly, you can pretty much go far in this world. So recently, I took a driver's ed course and did phenomenal on my driver's ed course. From my perspective, my moms and the driver's teachers, you have to ask them for their part of it. But last Friday, I took my driver's test. And I am safe to say that I safely passed with my driver's license. There was a time that I thought that I would never get adopted. But God kept a light burning inside of me and said, you will get adopted. It's just time. It takes time. It's that time that all those families that didn't go right were actually hurdles that I had to jump across to get to the right family. Being in foster care, I didn't know exactly how God loved me more than He ever did until I got to the family I am in now. My mom always said, it takes a village to raise a child. And right now, I stand before you guys, and I say, thank you to all that who have kept up with my story, who have prayed for my healing when I went for my surgery. Thank you for just never not believing in me. And from that, I say that I am eternally grateful that you guys are all my village. Thank you, and